Senator from Oregon.
Mr. Chief Justice, on behalf of Senator Menendez, Senator Brown, and myself, I send a question to the desk for the House managers.
Thank you. Senators Wyden, Menendez, and Brown ask the House managers. The President's counsel has argued that the President's actions are based on his desire to root out corruption. However, new reporting indicates that Attorney General Barr and former National Security Advisor Bolton shared concerns that the President was granting personal favors to autocratic foreign leaders like President Erdogan of Turkey. The President has also acknowledged his private business interests in the country, like Trump Towers Istanbul. The Treasury Department has not denied that the President directed Treasury and the Department of Justice to intervene in the criminal investigation of Halkbank, the Turkish state-owned bank, which has been accused of a scheme to evade Iranian sanctions. Has the President engaged in a pattern of conduct in which he places his personal and political interests above the national security interests of the United States?
Thank you, Mr. Chief Justice, and also want to thank the senators again for your hospitality and for listening to both sides as we've endeavored to answer your questions. Thank you for that question. I think, first and foremost, there has been a troubling pattern of possible conflicts of interest that we've seen from the beginning of this administration through this moment. But the allegation here related to the abuse of power charge is that in this specific instance, the President tried to cheat by soliciting foreign interference in an American election, by trying to gin up phony investigations against a political opponent. Now, what counsel for the President has said is that what the President was really interested in is corruption, that he's an anti-corruption crusader. For you to believe the President's narrative, you have to conclude that he's an anti-corruption crusader. Perhaps his domestic record is part of what senators can reasonably consider, but let's look at the facts of the central charge here. The President had two calls with President Zelensky on April 21st and on July 25th. In both instances, he did not mention the word corruption once. Release the transcripts, the word corruption was not mentioned by Donald Trump once. We also know that in May of last year, President Trump's own Department of Defense indicated that the new Ukrainian government had met all necessary preconditions for the receipt of the military aid, including the implementation of anti-corruption reforms. That's President Trump's Department of Defense saying there is no corruption concern as it relates to the release of the aid. Now, I think we can all acknowledge, as the President's counsel indicated, that there was a general corruption challenge with Ukraine. I think the exact quote from Mr. Popora was, "Since the fall of the Soviet Union, Ukraine has suffered from one of the worst environments for corruption in the world." Certainly, I believe that that's the case, but here's the key question. Why did President Trump wait until 2019 to pretend as if he wanted to do something about corruption? Let's explore. Did Ukraine have a corruption problem in 2017? Generally, the answer is yes. Did President Trump dislike foreign aid in 2017? The answer is yes. What did President Trump do about these alleged concerns in 2017? The answer is nothing. Under the same exact conditions that the president now claims motivated him to seek a phony political investigation against the Bidens and place a hold on the money, the president did nothing. He did not seek an investigation into the Bidens in 2017. He did not put a hold on the aid in 2017, but the Trump administration oversaw $560 million in military and security aid to Ukraine in 2017. In 2018, the same conditions existed if President Trump is truly an anti-corruption crusader. But what happened in 2018? He didn't seek an investigation into the Bidens. He didn't put a hold on the aid. Rather, the Trump administration oversaw $620 million in military and security aid to Ukraine, which brings us to this moment. Why the sudden interest in Burisma, in the Bidens, in alleged corruption concerns about Ukraine? What changed in 2019? What changed is that Joe Biden announced his candidacy. The president was concerned with that candidacy. Polls had him losing to the former vice president, and he was determined to stop Joe Biden by trying to cheat in the election, smear him, solicit foreign interference in 2020. That is an abuse of power. That is corrupt.
Thank you,
That
Mr.
is
Manager.
wrong.